What is very interesting about you is that you worked in Asia Pacific, specifically Singapore. And Singapore is obviously like a place where Uber had to sell to Grab, and Grab is now becoming everyday everything app. They offer, video streaming services, not to mention like food delivery, but also like wealth management now. How do you build partnerships when your competition is so active?
My approach as running a partnership team in this region has always been not so much to focus on the competition. Like it's good to be aware of what they're doing, but ultimately be very focused on who your customers are and whether that is serving your restaurants better, serving your customers better, serving your delivery riders. I think if you focus on what drives them, what's important to them, then it's very easy to find partners and think of how to deliver. I think it's really about quality and not necessarily quantity, and staying very focused on delivering value to them.
Right. Why do you think this super app mentality is not quickly adopted by the West, and what is the implications this has for partnerships?
Yeah, super apps have been very successful in the Asia Pacific region, largely because they tap into a consumer behavior within the region which is heavily based on price sensitivity in a lot of ways. Is that to give you an example, when I first moved to Singapore, I was shocked. It was in the days of Uber and Grab, and the taxi companies had their own app as well, and I would see people open all three apps, look at who was offering the best voucher deal, and choose one accordingly. There was very little sort of brand loyalty, and there is a much higher degree of price sensitivity in Asia, and a lot of these super apps have built up a following that is largely, and not necessarily that's what sustains it, but in the initial phases, it really was about being able to get discounts across all of these platforms, and they were able to acquire a lot of customers and burn through quite a lot of cash simultaneously. I think we'll have to see the test of time as to in the post WeWork world where everybody is looking at path to profitability, is whether these sort of models are sustainable. I think that has, at least in the initial phase, been this sort of appealing to price sensitivity has acquired a lot of customers initially, and then that stickiness has kept them in the app.
Right. Yeah. But then, just from going back to consumer behavior, right? If I'm a consumer, I personally think that I like more when different services in different apps. I kind of can compartmentalize in my head as well. Yeah. But then consumers in Asia are very happy to open an app and have 30 different services. Yeah. Why does it happen?
Yeah, that's a good question. Why this consolidation? I think in a lot of, I think in there being a lot of less mature markets in Asia, that there's a lot of sort of first mover advantage in these super apps as well. So not only are you sort of the first super app, but you're really the first one who is also, enabling people to book cars online, enabling people to book manicures online, and all of these services. So I think it's the combination of that price sensitivity with that first mover advantage. And so if the first touch point of a consumer is with an app that can also do movie ticket bookings, can also do ride sharing, there isn't that need for kind of a consolidation after the fact. Whereas in European markets and Western markets, you see that there is much more entrenched loyalty to vertical players, and it's much harder then to translate that behavior then to a super app, because it wasn't the initial touch point.
Very interesting. Yeah. Going back to partnerships, right? And people hiring people for your team. Who are the people you was hiring, and what kind of skill set you was looking for, and also what is your advice for people who want to go to partnerships? What type of skill sets they need to develop?
Yeah, that's a great question because there's a lot of because partnerships can be such a broad and diverse space. Is that finding the right team is very, very important. I would say, firstly, I think you need someone who is highly resilient because you can face a lot of challenges in the partnership space. You can work on a deal, say, for months, and then it will eventually kind of fall flat, or somebody will pull out. So finding someone who can be resilient in the face of those challenges is really important. I think organization is also incredibly important because, again, those long lead times, that staying on top, that sort of following up and being on top of multiple moving pieces. So from the ideation to the execution side of things, it requires strong organizational skills. I'd also say creativity as well. Is that I think the best partnerships are a little bit out of the box, not just copying something that a competitor has done. Is that that having someone who can really think outside of the box and deconstruct problems in a unique way is very strong as well. Yeah.
Right. My last question would be: the partnership field in itself seems to be changing, right? It depends who you're talking to, obviously, but what do you think this is going to evolve in the next, let's say, 5 years?
Yeah. I absolutely agree with you that partnerships is a growing space and across many sectors. I would say one thing that I think is really going to come to the fore is measurement and attribution. I think so. There aren't very many tools around to necessarily measure, say, the media value of a partner's channels that are you have exposure through, or a lot of building business cases internally requires you to be able to show the impact and really measure on a granular level what the impact is on your core commercials of a business. So I think that's something really important. I think a lot of teams might use something like Salesforce, but which isn't necessarily the best way to engage with partners and to really measure that impact. And so that, I think, is something that is going to change. Is being able to really define success metrics and then be able to show it in an easy way. Because sometimes a team's work can really be just doing those post deal analysis and being able to show that impact.
Brilliant. Yeah. Look, this was my last question, and thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for sharing your insights.
No problem. Thanks for having me.